Okay, so for those of you not familiar with the Mandela effect, for me, the guy who pioneered the Mandela effect is Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick was long dead uh, before the Mandela effect or even the Mandela thing came into existence. So he obviously wouldn't know it by this name, but he was talking about the same phenomena. He was a science fiction writer and he wrote science fiction magazines and books, right? Basically based on alternate universe, like if had like Nazi Germany won the war, had certain events had happened different, like Pearl Harbor and whatnot. You know what I mean? And he wrote novels based on alternative universe where events were slightly different and they had been a completely different history happen. So afterwards, once in his older age, he said that most of these books and like science fiction stories that he wrote were actually based on memories that he had, that he remembered certain like events differently, and that he had remembered like living in like 1950s Nazi Germany, which would be impossible, obviously, if because the war ended in 1945. But he said had they won, and this is kind of like the same thing that people document with the Mandela effect, right? So I was aware of like this right around the same time. So for me, this guy pioneered the idea of the Mandela effect. So the Mandela effect is obviously when people misremember when Mandela died and they say they died in prison, and then others say no, he died like in, I forget exactly what's the other day, in like the 2010s or late 2000s, but people remember it differently. And when I first came across the Mandela effects and the different examples of like the simulation theory, this is before the Matrix and everything. Philip K. Dick was talking about God as a programmer and the devil as a reprogrammer, and that they change things across times, and we kind of remember bits and pieces of the changes or before the changes, kind of like an update to a system, right? Like 1.1 or 1.2. Like if you're playing a video game and you're at a certain save point, um, it will like you'll get the new update downloaded straight from Steam, or it will just download the new update, but you won't lose your save point, even though you're technically playing a different version of the game. That's kind of how it works, and this is kind of how his theory used to work. He used to talk about this, and he said that he thinks it works a little bit like this. Like, so if God comes down to the basement and finds that in his computer simulation that he's running the world on, something went horribly wrong while he was asleep, or while he wasn't looking, all of a sudden he would change it, but he would change it across time and make a new updated version. And the people interacting with the game or the software wouldn't know what just happened, or even if they did, it would just they'll have their memories of the version before, but they will be playing on a new version nonetheless, right? So, and this kind of how it works when you think of simulations and like timeline convergence and like things changing across time. This is kind of how really time travel works. If you really even dove into time travel or things fixing or changing things across time, you will know that it really works through parallel universe. You're not really changing the same universe, and then all you can do is merge them, right? So right now, I when I first looked into the Mandela effect, I found a few examples compelling, but none of them really made me flinch. But however, I looked in deeply because I found it interesting. I thought it was an interesting topic, and what Philip K. Dick said, he said it very eloquently, and I thought it was an interesting story. I mean, it's science fiction, but it's nonetheless entertaining. And I paid attention when he spoke. So I looked into the Nelson Mandela kind of like a science fiction story, right? Like a cool puzzle to work out. However, I did that like back in 2018, 17, like years ago, right? And I remember the most compelling example to me was Fly My Prettiest Flies. I kind of like was aware of like the Wizard of Oz. I kind of grew up on it. I knew it like early in my 12, 13 years old, around there, right? So I was aware of it, and then I found it kind of weird that there was like so many people misremembering and so many like other literary books, I guess, other books and other literary arts such as plays and like videos and like movies that kind of like would reference to the Wizard of Oz and would reference quotes from the Wizard of Oz and would reference the Wizard of Oz, right? In many ways in their movies and in their writings and whatnot, and they would reference the quote as I remembered it, which was Fly My Pretty Flies. And then I found out that it's not really like that at all in The Wizard of Oz. It just says fly, fly, fly. And I thought that was pretty weird because I remember Fly My Pretty Fly. And I made a video about it in 2018, right? Like I didn't have any subscribers, right? I took it down. It didn't even matter. I didn't think much of it. I just thought I misremembered it. I was like, oh, maybe my memory failed me. And it failed to all these people also in all the other times they reference back. Like the Hunchback of Notre Dame also references The Wizard of Oz. And in their reference is Fly My Pretty Flies. But it never was Fly My Pretty Flies. It was always Fly, Fly, Fly. So it's not just me misremembering. I mean, it's more people. But I thought, oh, maybe it's just a bunch of people misremembering. That's fine by me. However, here, like years later, 2022, I come across something that happened where like something flipped back. I remember when I looked back in those days, like years ago, like when I looked at Fly My Pretty Fly, I also looked at the Apollo 13 line where it says, Houston, we have a problem. And that's how I used to remember. I used to remember Houston, we have a problem, but I really didn't really like that movie. So it wasn't personal to me. I didn't really put too much stock onto that line, whatever. But the thing is, back when I looked into it like years ago, everybody in the Nelson and Mandela effect community was complaining how it used to be Houston, we have a problem, but it got changed to Houston, we've had a problem, right? And then everybody was like, oh, that's crazy. I guess we're both misremembering it. But now it's being flipped back, almost like the timeline is converging, because now Houston, we have a problem, it's back to being Houston, we have a problem. It's never been Houston, we've had a problem. But I remember specifically when I was back in the looking into the Nelson Mandela effect, everybody during that time was saying how it used to be Houston, we have a problem, and it had been changed to Houston, we've had a problem. And all this time I thought, oh, it's Houston, we've had a problem, and I just misremembered it this whole time. But now it's back to being Houston, we have a problem, like we all originally remembered it to begin with, and the people in the community, right? Which is pretty freaky, man. And here I have a lot of proof of what I'm talking about. This is pretty freaky because there's still residual proof of this event happening, of like this misremembering when he was, for a short period of time, I would say maybe from 2013 or like from like 2013 till like now 2022, it was Houston, we've had a problem. But before 2013 and after 2022, like now, is Houston, we have a problem. So it's super weird because look, now clearly the line is Houston, we have a problem. Here, I'll play it.
Please, Houston, we have a problem.
You see? So it's clearly Houston, we have a problem. It's back to being what we've all always thought.
Houston, say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
Right? But look, there's all these residual pieces of evidence where they used to say that, oh, people are just misremembering this, and you have all these proofs from different outlets saying that the misquote is actually Houston, we have a problem, and that it's always been Houston, we've had a problem. But as you can see, it never was Houston, we've had a problem. It's super freaky, man. It's so hard to even explain. It's like wrapping your head around a noodle. It makes no sense. But look, when you look at like parade.com, right, and it says Houston, we have a problem, and other quotes that people never actually said in movies. What? So it's here that literally the fucking headline is Houston, we have a problem has never been said in any movie. But I just show you the clip, and I'll show you again. They say it.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
See? So the thing is, like here it says, oh, actually, the actual words were Houston, we've had a problem. So you see what I mean? It's saying you right here that it was never said Houston, we have a problem. It's always been Houston, we've had a problem. Right? You see, but that's wrong. This is from, like, obviously, this is, you see, it's from 2018. Like, my video was from 2018. So this is 2018. So in 2018, everybody in the whole world said that this movie was Houston, we've had a problem. And the Mandela effect nuts were the ones saying it was always Houston, we have a problem. But now the Nelson Mandela nuts are right and everybody's wrong. Look. Because this is called a misquote in this article. But look, if you look at listverse.com, 2007, right? In 2007, top 15 film misquotes. Talks about all this stuff, right? Let's see. Forrest Gump. Yeah, this is another one that probably will change. I remember this one in the Nelson Mandela effect. Also, people said that my mama always said life is like a box of chocolate, and that's, you never know what you're gonna get. That's how I remember it, but apparently that's not how it is anymore. Apparently, it's always been life was like a box of chocolates. How is that possible? I don't know. I'm sure that one will change back too. But here, Apollo 13, it says, misquote, Houston, we have a problem. Like saying that's not the right way to say it. But also sometimes misquoting Houston, we've got a problem. Both are wrong. The correct historical phrase was Houston, we've had a problem. What? You see, and this is from 2007, so I was wrong. It's even before 2013. It's always been Houston, we've had a problem. So now it's back to Houston, we have a problem. Like I show you here, and I'll show you again.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
You see, it's clearly we have. It's not we had. It is as clear as day. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Look, BuzzFeed 2013. Let's look at BuzzFeed 2013. It says 20 famous movie lines that you have been saying wrong. So he says, Houston, we have a problem. Misquote, Houston, we have a problem. Actual movie quote, oh, Houston, we've had a problem. What I just show you, it's never been Houston, we've had a problem when you look it up now. Something's going on, you know what I mean? Like, not just, I show you 3 websites, BuzzFeed, 2013, Listverse, 2007, Parade, 2018, right? I remember this from 2018, so you have my evidence, my own evidence, right? So what is that called again? When your own evidence, whatever, anecdotal evidence. Yeah, you get it. 2013 Thought Catalog. They also had it. Look, I've collected all of this. They've also had it as like, look, Apollo 13 got it wrong. If you say, hey, Houston, we have a problem, like I just showed you. If you say this, like the movie says.
Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
That's a misquote according to the timeline in 2013, 2007, 2018, and even Thought Catalog in freaking what year was this done? 2013 again. Look, that's wrong. But doing it right would be, oh, Houston, we've had a problem. Oh, Houston. It doesn't even say ah. Look, bro, it doesn't even say ah.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
There's no ah. It says Houston, we have a problem. Like we all said it was forever. You understand, man? Something's going on here. So what else is going on here? Apollo 13 movie found residue in previous realities. So 6 years ago, right? Like people are talking about the residue. Like I talked about residue in the Mandela effect. Because, right, when you change something, you may change the original piece, but it's so weird, like how time doesn't work exactly how you think, how they show you in the Hollywood movies. Like all their pieces kind of like haven't changed it. Like, you know, it's really fucking weird, man. It's the same thing with like Fly My Pretties Fly. So now, in a Reddit post from 6 years ago, it was the same thing. You can see it here. Misquote, Houston, we have a problem. Correct quote is, oh, Houston, we've had a problem. But we know that's not the correct thing. And this is according to News Australia, right? You go here to News Australia, probably still up there, telling you got it, right? So you see what goes here, man. Houston, we have a problem. Another post from 6 years ago. Oh, complaining about this. The famous line from the actual another movie has gone from Houston, we have a problem, to Houston, we've had a problem. So you see, this guy was complaining 6 years ago how he had been switched from what it is now to what it was then. It's so confusing, but it's funny to even say it. You see, it's from the R. Mandela effect. But this is what I'm telling you. 6 years ago, we were complaining about this, and now it's back to being this. So this is what's so weird about me. Back then, I thought it was no big deal. I made one video, got no views. I was like, okay, whatever. It's not that important of a topic. Switched it up. But I remember this being like this, and now I switched back, man. Now the line is back to being Houston, we have a problem. And everybody's talking about this. It's called Mandela flip-flop back now. It's crazy. Now it's flip-flopping back to what it was. It's super weird, man. I don't know what else to tell you. let's look at Business Insider from 2012, another different year. So you see all the years. In fact, the Apollo 13, no one, so he's saying no one, not that a different part, at no point, he's saying no one at no point says, Houston, we've had a problem. The line is actually, oh, Houston, we've had a problem. So he's saying that this never occurs. He's saying that this, which I'm about to show you, from Apollo 13, 1995, this never happens.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
There was no all, and it wasn't past tense. It's a current problem that he's having. Not that he's had. You know what I mean, bro? Like, it's just unbelievable. This is Business Insider 2012. Like, I don't like making this video. I don't even like talking about the Mandela effect, but it's so obvious. Like, it's just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, how is that not obvious? I showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different years and different sources saying it like I just show you how it is now. It's been a misquote for all these years. And now it's back to being a real quote. You know, it's confusing to talk about, but hopefully you get it, because I'm fucking done. But that's it.